Okay, let's move on to double egress doors, and here we go. So double egress doors they're a pair of doors, is just simply what they are. And what makes them double egress is that each leaf in the door provides egress, whereas, let's say, a pair of standard doors that will, let's say, either swing in or maybe be double acting, may not provide egress for both leaves. They might swing in the direction of a closet. They might go into a mechanical closet, a room that's 12 foot by 8 foot, something like that. But the term egress is used to apply that you are using one of the two doors in the pair as a means to go from one area to the next area in terms of the flow of traffic or the flow of moving, and you're generally going in an egress sort of movement. A very common place that you're going to see these are going to be, well, restaurants. I really can't say that I've seen them recently, but in my life I've seen lots of double egress doors in very busy restaurants. You'll certainly see them in hospitals. You're going to see them in applications where, back to the definition, they want to have traffic defined such that you can move through the opening using one of the two leaves, not both, and do so in such a way that the sheer type of pair of doors that they are define the direction that you're moving in. So what you'll have is, moving through the opening, there will be the ability to push a door open, and that will force you to be on one side of the opening. Because in a double egress pair of doors, you cannot pull the door that is only meant to be pushed open. And the way that that's controlled is by hardware, really. So when you walk up to a pair of double egress doors, and by the way, this is obviously a pair of standard doors, right? Double egress doors are generally going to work, one door will open this way, but the other door comes in this way. And the way to think about that is, you might say that you have a right-hand door, but over here, if I'm standing here, let's do it a better way. Let's get a piece of paper. If you have this door here, you're using one of them. If you're standing here, this is going to be the egress side. What generally happens is, on the ingress side, or the pull side of the door, there would be nothing there for you that would allow you to pull the door open. Meaning, the nature of a double egress controls the flow of traffic by the fact that you're prevented generally from entering or pulling one of those doors open from what would be considered the ingress side. So we all use the term the push side of the door or the pull side of the door. And I've had some people tell me in the past, well, that depends on whether or not the door's open or closed. No, it doesn't. The natural state of a door is to be closed. The natural state of the door is not to be open. It can be held open, but the natural state is closed. So you are either going to push the door or you're going to pull the door when the door is closed. The push side of the door is the egress side. The pull side of the door is the ingress side. This is a double egress opening, not a double ingress opening. I suppose you could have that as well if you just switched your hardware around. So in a double egress application, your point of reference is the push side. So over here, I'm going to push that door open and go through. Okay. The way I'm going to do that is there'll be hardware on this side of the door. Maybe just a push plate. Over here on the ingress side, if the flow of traffic, meaning where they want human bodies to be as the doors move and as people need to come in and out, if they don't want me to try to pull that door open to then come in, there'll be no hardware here, like a pull plate. The reason that they'll do that is they don't want you to be in the way of exiting or egressing traffic. So a double egress forces a particular behavior because of the way that the doors swing and because of how the hardware is applied to those doors is what that is. Double egress is almost always left-hand reverse by left-hand reverse. What that means is there are 4 ways that a door can swing. Let's talk about those 4 ways. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So the 4 ways a door can swing: left hand, right hand reverse, right hand reverse. In the commercial industry. The residential guys are going to say left hand in, left hand out, right hand out. I get it. Makes sense. You know, a door to them is either left hand, and it swings in or out. I think it always swings in unless you tell it, well, it's a left hand out. That's fine. But in the commercial world, we use the terms left hand reverse, right hand reverse. Left hand or right hand always means in swing. Always. Left hand reverse, right hand reverse always mean outswing. Always. So it can be very simply stated when you're looking at the opening. What side are the hinges on? Are they on the left or are they on the right? Start right there. You got LH or RH. If the door swings in, you're pushing the door into something. If there's a key, or if there would be a key if you were to add a locking hardware to it, is it on the ingress side? Is it on the push side? If it is, then you know that it's an in-swing. Not every door passes that muster so easily, but every door does. So it's a left hand. If the hinges are on the left, it's a left hand if it swings in. If the hinges are on the right, it's a right hand if it swings in. You're done. Meaning, is the secured side of the opening the side that you're standing on when you're looking at the door and it swings away from you in? However, same scenario. Let's just pick it up from if the door swings towards you. If you're on the outside, well, if the door swings towards you, then you add an R to the end. So if you're standing at a door and the hinges are on the left, but this time now it pulls towards you, it's a left-hand reverse. Like I said earlier, left-hand or right-hand doors always swing in. Left-hand reverse, right-hand reverse doors always swing out. And we do use the crutch of what side of the door is the key on. It always leads to further discussion. And that's why we add to that. If you were to add a key, meaning if there isn't a key on the door, what side of the door would you put it on? That'll help you figure out what the hand of the door is. So a really simple scenario is Norridge, Illinois, all the homes built in the early 1960s, tri-level homes. You come in on the first floor, you walk to a set of stairs, you go through the kitchen, you go down below grade, or you go up to the bedrooms. So when you go up to the bedrooms, you'll have bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bedroom 3. You'll have a bathroom, and then sometimes you have a linen closet, either in the hall, but in the house I grew up in, it was actually in the bathroom. So you'd have to go in the bathroom, which was a right hand, go in, close the door, and now that linen closet door is there. Linen closet doors like that never swing in because there's shelves for all the towels. That door happened to have the hinges on the right, and it swung toward me, so that door was a right-hand reverse. I needed to go through a right-hand door to get in, a right-hand door to come in, close the door, then hinges here, and I had to pull that door open. There's no key on the linen closet. But if you'll permit the poetic use of gray area with the definition, if I were to need that lock that door, what side of the door would I put the key? I wouldn't put it on the inside. I wouldn't want to lock someone inside the closet. I would put it on the outside. So that would meet the criteria. That's a right-hand reverse. Now, how does all of this apply to a double egress application? Let's talk. So the reason that understanding the handing of the door is really important is because double egress doors, as I had said initially, they're double egress, not double ingress doors. Egress, because you are egressing, that means that the door swings out. You can't be on the egress side of a door and have it swing in even if a double egress opening is in it, always is in the interior of a door, although I did sell them a big condo building in Orlando. These were used as, in Florida, you'll have a condo building where the center of the building is open to the exterior elements, but they had these towers that were connected, and there were double egress doors between the two towers that happened to be open in the center. They had double egress doors feeding Tower A to Tower B for allowing traffic to move. Well, not like this. Only like this. Only like this. Definitely not like this. Because they're double egress doors, we know that the doors swing out. That means that the definition must and can only be left-hand reverse by left-hand reverse if you go this way and this way, or right-hand reverse by, meaning little x, right-hand reverse by right-hand reverse, which would mean this to this. That's super uncommon to have that. And the reason is because, I think the reason is we're right-handed, and we also drive on the right side of the road. So for us, it's more natural to go to the right side. I find that not everybody understands it the same way. Whether I'm on a hiking trail and oncoming people are coming on, for me, what is the right side of the trail? No, get over to the right side. So the hiking trail applies because you've got people from all over the world. Disney World is a great example of that. Or when you are in Europe, we've got people that move on the what we consider the wrong side of the opening. And if you're hiking, etiquette, I think, dictates that up travelers get right away, regardless of side of the trail you're on. So I think those are the reasons, just natural reasons why left-hand reverse makes more sense. And I would imagine that building floor plan design is based on that. And the only time that I would have seen right-hand reverse by right-hand reverse, and I would have said to myself, oh, that's unusual, is when the flow of the building, the structure is such that that was really the right way to do that, because where you're needing to get to is going to be, through that door and into a space that being on that side of the opening is where you needed to be. Double egress can be just as simple as a pair of doors, and they're 2'10" doors, let's say, in a Chinese restaurant. And I say that because that's where I've always seen them back in the old days. Pair of wood doors, they've got a little piece of glass in each, and just the busboy's going in with a whole, way more than he should be carrying in one trip. And then the waiter who does not want to have the busboy in his way ever. Get out of my way, busboy. So that's a perfect example. In those openings, you cannot pull open the door that the waiter is going to be exiting through. There's no pull handle there. There's only a push plate for the busboy to go into the kitchen. What's also nice about those is a double egress opening gives you the ability to have two people move through the opening simultaneously, whereas a standard pair of doors doesn't work as well. And that's because in a standard pair of doors, there's nothing that defines for us the traffic. I mean, you could simply have a pull handle on one door and nothing on the other door. Let's put a pull handle here, and let's put nothing here. So I can always be coming in this way. My egress traffic can always be going out this way. But, I've got doors that are both swinging towards people. When it goes away, you get the sense that you've got a clear path of movement. Actually, I should be doing this. That's a really basic example of when you see them. Super functional. Doesn't really change the level of difficulty in that application, because that Chinese restaurant's going to be a wood frame, a couple of wood doors. So I think we can go from that really standard exposure to double egress to that Tower A, Tower B. Again, they just want to control the direction of traffic. In that application, they needed a pair of doors for fire separation, and it just seemed to make a lot more sense with double egress. I think what they did was top rod only, surface vertical rods, I think is what they did there. I don't recall. It's 8 years ago, that job. And that worked out just fine. Exit only, you could only move in that direction, even though when you opened up one door, you could just easily open up the other door. Why you would do that, I'm not sure. Then move up to a hospital situation where the requirement to absolutely control traffic, meaning meaning on this side of the wall, here's your quarter. On this wall, I want to move in this direction only. On the other side of the wall, I want to move in this direction only. Makes a lot of sense because you want, doesn't it really just seem to you, as it does to me, that a double egress opening is just like a highway? I don't want, when I'm traveling from east to west, let's say, I don't want cars coming head on to me. I want them to stay on the other side of the opening. So the double egress opening is just like a highway. You've got traffic oncoming traffic on your left, you're moving that way. But those hospital applications get into a lot of other requirements. Those doors can be smoke and fire rated. Those doors are going to have very likely egress hardware installed. They have to be compliant with fire code and life safety code, and they have to be compliant with whatever is the requirements for the opening. You might have an application where you need like a particular hardware set for the opening because of circumstances, such as these double egress doors may be also pocket doors, meaning that when the doors are open, let's just use one leaf, that is completely flush, the face of the door is flush with the wall construction. You want the door out of the opening. You might use Harmon hinges or pocket pivots for that. And those types of pocket pivots are actually really popular. Not popular as much as they are indeed common. And if you were to search online for Harmon hinge, or I happen to be doing a quote right now for 3 dozen Ives 91105F. If you search that, you'll see that as well. Also, if you were to do a pocket, door closer really has to get thought about. If you're doing that, then electromags or whatever is holding the doors open, assuming that those doors will be held open. But in a lot of instances, double egress, like a hospital in Glenview, Illinois, I forget the name of the hospital group. As soon as you walk in from the sliding automatics outside at the emergency room, there's a double egress pair there, and those are locked down. You need credential to get into that area because it leads right into the triage area. So they're not always held open, that's to be sure. If they are held open, you got to really look at the closers for that stuff. If they're always closed, you got to really look at the closers for that stuff. And there's a reason that you have to look at all the hardware, because the profile of the double egress frame is odd, and you have to think about it. And I'm going to explain that now. There are two profiles of double egress frames. The doors are the doors are the doors, except that they really aren't. Also, when you're doing a pair of doors, you're going to, in my opinion, you're going to think of them as two single doors, meaning you want 1/8 of an inch here, 1/8 of an inch here, and 1/8 of an inch here. Hinge jam, and then the meeting style. If you're going to slap up 35 3/4 inch standard doors, you're going to have a 1/4 inch between the doors, not 1/8 of an inch. So when you're doing double egress, you really want to think about the width of those doors and the edge of those doors as well. Generally, you could see parallel bevel in those applications because you got one door going this way and one going that way. That'd be really great. You could just have 3-degree bevel, and that works as well, except you're going to have an unusual gap in elevation view on one side of the opening that you will the other. So parallel bevel is also really nice, but that's kind of what it's going to end up being if you're using beveled edge doors, because you're just pulling, let's just say, right-hand doors off the shelf. If they're beveled and handed, they're right-hand doors if they're doing left-hand reverse by left-hand reverse. So that problem, even using stock width doors, probably won't be too much of an issue, because those bevels help you in the sense that the door won't be 35 3/4, it'll be 35 13/16. So now that gap between the doors is not a 1/4 inch anymore. It's really closer to what you want it to be. It's not perfect, but it's probably going to work just fine. So thought has to be put into what's my width and what do my bevels, my door bevels look like. You don't want square edge doors, really. Beveled edge would be great. So let's talk about those two different profiles of the frame, and then we're going to talk about the door closers, because when it comes to double egress, I'm always thinking, yeah, that door closer. And I've used double egress doors, that's really the arm, on applications that were just single doors, but there was a reveal on the pull side of the opening that I needed to contend with, and that's what I'm getting to. So let's move on. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Let's look at the definition first. As we see here, it says a pair of doors swinging in opposite directions located in the same plane within a frame. That's really important, the same plane part, because you'll notice that this frame doesn't look typical. That's because this is a double egress profile. This is one of two profiles. This is the really common profile, but because the amount of years that I've been in the industry, which is not short but not the longest, I've seen a different profile as well, and I'll show that to you. So, pair of doors swinging in opposite directions, located in the same plane within a frame. When these doors are closed, they would be in the same plane. I would probably add a second sentence there if I was SDI to say, typically used to help control the flow of traffic, because otherwise just use a standard pair of doors, I suppose. And what I'm about to do is definitely going to apply to the next definition as well. So let's do that. Let's pull up our trusty paint program. So as you saw, our frame was a little bit like this. It was a lot of bit like that. Your hinge pocket's going to be here. Anyway, you get the idea. You have a door here. You're going to have a door here. And yeah, they're on the same plane. They're going to be even on both sides. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is 5/8, 2 inch, 2 5/8, 1 3/8. So, where the door sits here, to the outside of the jamb, the frame, the back of the frame, that's 2 inch. Your training will tell you that this is 5/8, and also this is 5/8. That's where you're going to get 1 3/8 and 2 5/8. Really important to know. That's what you're going to get. You can stock. We used to stock double egress jam stick material so that we could make our own custom ones, and you'd say, okay, well, you can see how you do that on the hinge jam, but the header's a bit tricky, and it is. You got to cut it, flip one end around, and then weld those two pieces together, and you can line this up and this up when you do that. It's really going to look when you've got it laying on your table. Now imagine you're going to have that other part, and it's going to look like that when you stick it all together. It does. So the bottom line is, when you cut one piece and turn it around, you've got to weld all that closed. You can do it. If you got a good shop guy, he's going to do it. We've done it countless times. And that's just when we want to make one in our shop and not wait for a factory order. And you'll do that if you can. There's no doubt. I don't have any pictures of us pulling off that mini miracle, but it works, and it will work. So, I mean, you got to cut all your hinges and et cetera, et cetera. So that is the common profile. Now, there is another profile, and it is, and I've seen it, it's just this. 2 5/8 over here. You can leave this at 2 inch over here. The problem with this type of design, and I've seen people do it, where they've taken cased opening frame and then put a filler on there to make a stop and welded it on. The issue with that is you're going to need probably a raised barrel hinge or a wide throw if you do that sort of business, because you got no clearance for the knuckle or the barrel or the knuckle of the hinge. That's the issue with that. But I have seen this type of frame as well. Actually, what I've seen in addition to that is it's going to look a lot more like this, actually, where this is, it's just a standard frame out here, and that cap, if this is 5 3/4, 1 15/16, this is going to be a really large piece of cap that's been added. That'll work. It's the same as this. You're just going to have a bigger area that you've got a blank like this. That'll work. But this double egress profile is really the common one. All right, now we talked about hardware, and let's take a quick look at door closers. So I like a lot of door closer manufacturers. Norton has a sweet spot for me because of the way that their catalog is laid out. LCN's tech support, as are all of the tech support departments, phenomenal. But let's just use Dorma on this one, and it is because I too like the way that they lay out their stuff. And in this case, I think they've got a good drawing of a pocket closer, which is why I'm choosing Dorma. And, you know, as you scroll through here, you see these cross sections, and we're going to do that. But what's really, really important to keep in mind is where you are going to end up installing your door closer when your door is here. Where does the arm go? And I'm just scrolling through here because I don't remember what page the double egress is on. Double egress. Okay. So the trouble with what we're seeing here is that this profile is a little weird. Ignore this dimension line. This is the frame. Now, why is this important? Well, whether it be this or this, the important thing is the reveal. Well, yeah, this would be the reveal. The dimension from the face here to here. This is a pull side mount. So the word reveal is really not correct, because reveal would be on the push side when you're doing a top jam installation. So the important thing is this dimension from here to here. How much room is here? What is this? You're not going to get a regular arm installed on this. You're not going to put the closer body here, and because of this reverse reveal, I'm not sure what to call this, reverse reveal. If this is a reveal, we'll call it reverse reveal. That's where you have to have a door closer that's got this funny little doodad here. That arm looks weird when you pull it out. The problem is we're looking at it in just these two dimensions, but that arm is going to kind of look like this. Is what it's going to kind of look like. It's not kind of, it's going to look like that. It's going to be bent like that. And that's what's being shown here. So this reverse reveal that I've coined, I suppose, is why you have to have really special consideration when it comes to hardware. We had also talked about that pocket situation. You could do double egress in pocket, and there's a Harman hinge, or the Dorma 520 or the 523. One's rated, one's not, I think. But you got to have a special closer for that as well. So you can do double egress in pockets. And it just so happened to be that they had both of those closers on on the same page. Now, could you do double egress and top jam mount? Yeah, sure you could. You can put the body over here. As long as this reveal is compliant with what the arm can handle, that'd be okay. But if you wanted to mount it on the pull side, you got to have a special arm. And you got to have a double egress arm. Just to push that narrative one step further, let's just pull up the LCN catalog. And I want to because I believe their catalog is a little more straightforward. But the reason I like Dorma is because they have, I believe, every conceivable application in their catalog without it being completely odd or custom. Norton would be second for choice for all of that. Norton, LCN's catalog doesn't show as much, but that's where you just simply have to reach out to them for a special template. And I think I have an ST. Yeah, here's an ST, a special template. This is a 4010 by ST1544. I'm not sure what makes this a special template. Closer on a 4020 drop plate to clear a concealed holder or to clear a rabbited door. All right, we're going to move on. I don't want to get in the weeds on that. Let's open up their catalog. Let's type in egress. That's your double egress arm. Now, I've also used a double egress arm on an in-swing application where it was on the pulls, the closer body was on the door, the arm was on the header, and it had this reverse reveal that I've been talking about. And it was just a single door opening. Double egress arm. Yeah. So when it comes to double egress, really think through your hardware set and absolutely envision or visualize the installation aspect. Is it going to fit? Look at installation, look at cut sheets, and look at installation instructions for all of this stuff. Because LCN's been in business for a century. Dorma, I don't know how long. Norton's been around since around the time of the Civil War. So if it's a commercial hardware application, they've probably seen it, if you'll allow it. Meaning, they probably aren't surprised very often with an application. So, as resources, think about your product catalog, your tech support at the manufacturer, your co-workers, and your customers as being really good sources of help. And I have learned that if you feel like you're a bit too sure about something working, maybe take a second look. Anyway, all right, that wraps that up. I can't think of anything else to say about that stuff. And let's just move on to the next definition, which is, yeah, double egress frame. Okay, a lot of this is going to be repeated. Let's do it. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.